In late October 2025, the world watched with bated breath as rumors of a breakthrough in the US-China trade war surfaced. The media buzzed with speculation and hope. With a 100% US tariff on Chinese imports looming, tensions were at an all-time high, threatening global economic stability. The stakes had never been higher. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and China's Vice Premier He Lifeng announced a preliminary consensus, calming markets and sending Wall Street soaring. Investors breathed a sigh of relief. The deal included Chinese crackdowns on fentanyl chemicals, a significant move in the fight against the opioid crisis, and promises to buy U.S. agriculture, a much-needed boost for American farmers. While the U.S. paused its tariff threat, offering a temporary reprieve. Yet this was no final agreement, just a fragile truce built on ambiguity. The details were murky, and skepticism lingered. Even as optimism spread, China began leveraging its control over global supply chains, signaling that the real battle was just beginning. The economic chess game was far from over. The US celebrated a diplomatic win, but Beijing was already shifting the ground beneath their feet. The celebration might be premature. The illusion of progress would soon give way to a new, more dangerous phase of economic confrontation. The world braced for what was to come. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, became the face of America's economic strategy, balancing Trump's hardline demands with the need for real results. His financial acumen brought China back to the table, securing commitments on fentanyl and agriculture, key wins for the administration. Bessent's coalition of U.S. industries was fragile, each sector wanting different things from the deal. The challenge: keep everyone on board while China maneuvered to undermine the framework. As China began to unravel its promises, Bessent's coalition started to fracture, exposing the vulnerability of America's negotiating position. The perception of progress was all that held the alliance together, and that illusion was fading fast. China wasted no time, wielding rare earth minerals as a powerful tool in its arsenal of economic warfare, fully aware of their strategic value on the world stage. Alongside rare earths, China also used soybeans as economic weapons, targeting key American exports to maximize pressure. By threatening export controls on rare earths, vital for U.S. tech, green energy, and defense industries, Beijing reminded Washington of its critical dependency, sending shockwaves through the highest levels of government and industry. The mere threat rattled American industries, turning trade talks into a high-stakes battle over supply chain control and future technological leadership. Simultaneously, China abruptly halted all U.S. soybean purchases, breaking its promise and pivoting to Argentina instead, sending a clear signal that it could shift global markets overnight. Ironically, U.S. financial aid to Argentina helped enable this pivot, deepening the blow to American farmers and highlighting the unintended consequences of global finance. China's moves punished U.S. agriculture, exposed policy contradictions, and weaponized its purchasing power, leaving American farmers and businesses reeling. The message was clear: Beijing could inflict targeted pain and exploit American vulnerabilities at will, using economic leverage as a form of modern warfare. The trade war was no longer just about tariffs or taxes. It was about who truly controlled the levers of the global economy and who could shape the future of international trade. America's economic lifelines were now in China's crosshairs, and the world was watching to see who would blink first. China's soybean snub hit the American heartland hard. Farmers, who had counted on renewed Chinese demand, were left with unsold crops and mounting debts. The American Soybean Association voiced outrage as silos filled and prices crashed. Hopes raised by the preliminary deal quickly turned to despair, with local economies bracing for a downturn. The sense of betrayal grew. Farmers who had supported the trade war now faced financial ruin. The ripple effects spread through rural America, from equipment dealers to shipping companies. Trust in both Beijing and Washington eroded as the promised benefits of the trade war evaporated. The heartland's patience was running out, and political support for the administration's strategy was crumbling. China's economic blows fractured the fragile coalition behind the administration's trade strategy. Revelations that U.S. aid to Argentina enabled China's soybean pivot sparked bipartisan outrage. Even Republican allies questioned the wisdom of policies that hurt American farmers. Democrats seized the moment, criticizing the administration's chaotic approach and lack of long-term strategy. The Bessent coalition unraveled as industry groups and political factions turned on each other. The administration's united front dissolved, replaced by confusion, anger, and demands for immediate action. The path to a final deal at the APEC summit now looked steeper than ever. As the trade framework with China faltered, President Trump launched a diplomatic blitz across Asia. The goal: build new partnerships to counter China's dominance, especially in critical minerals. Deals with Malaysia, Thailand, and Cambodia aim to diversify supply chains and reduce reliance on Beijing. In Japan, Trump reinforced alliances, but relationships with Canada and India soured over new trade disputes. This selective diplomacy highlighted the transactional nature of U.S. foreign policy. While future supply deals were promising, they offered little immediate relief to struggling American farmers and industries. The administration was racing to build new economic defenses before the old ones collapsed. The events of October 2025 marked a dramatic turning point for America, one that would reverberate far beyond its borders and reshape the global order for years to come. China's strategic use of rare earths and soybeans exposed deep U.S. vulnerabilities, revealing just how dependent America had become on foreign resources. The crisis shattered hopes for a quick resolution and forced leaders to confront uncomfortable truths about the nation's economic foundations. The unraveling of Bessent's coalition made clear the immense difficulty of maintaining unity under economic attack. Allies hesitated, old partnerships strained, and the world watched as cracks appeared in the once solid front. America's aggressive tactics provoked equally damaging responses from its rivals, often hurting its own citizens most. Families faced soaring prices, workers lost jobs, and uncertainty spread through communities across the nation. The crisis forced a reckoning. America could no longer take its economic dominance for granted. The U.S. must now build resilience, diversify supply chains, and invest in new partnerships to secure its future. Rethinking its approach to global trade is no longer optional, but essential for survival in a rapidly changing world. The world watched with bated breath as America struggled to adapt, realizing it could not counter China's influence alone. The need for new alliances and creative diplomacy became undeniable. The choices made now, at the APEC summit and beyond, will shape not only America's future, but also its place in a world where power is being redefined every day. The era of economic complacency is over. A new age of statecraft, strategy, and global competition has begun.